Welcome to Nephew and Uncle Basketball Banter, all you basketball fans out there. Game two of the NBA Finals, the 2025 NBA Finals, went to the Thunder, 123 to 107. And Uncle Dave, what was the differences in this game versus game one?
Well, as equally as weird as that first game stat sheet was, this game wasn't even as close to 16. It didn't feel like. It felt like between 6 and 20 the whole night, but just never felt right. But yet there's nothing glaring on the stat sheet except for the fact that, you got three more baskets, you got 10 more free throws, turnovers, again, too many. We got 15 turnovers, but 14 for OKC. The difference is what we talked about. Williams and Chet Holmgren, who you talked about, need to step up, and Chet did step up. Still don't
First
think he
play,
played enough.
first play that they got Oklahoma City on offense. They went right to him and he got a layup right at the rim. I'm like, that's a good sign right there.
Yep, and they out rebounded him by 7. And Dagnall's trying to say, "Well, that had nothing to do with the lineup change." Well, I beg to differ. You made your first big run of the game when you went double big.
Yeah, that lineup actually looked pretty good for them out there.
Yep,
Doris Burke was
they
even talking about it. Puts pressure on the Pacers. So
sure
I
does. That's why he just handed over game one. And you could hide it all you want. And all
right.
these people hate to admit they're wrong, but the fact is, you fucking lost by 17 on the board, playing hardly any minutes for these other guys.
I
So, you can say all you want, but the fact is, you got your ass kicked. You played 28 minutes for Chet tonight, Hartenstein 22. So they each played about 6 more minutes than they played the other night. That made a big difference.
yeah, which bolds the question: why were they playing so little in game one? It really is kind of
Yeah, and they
perplexing.
played 6 minutes more in a game where they got yanked with about 5 minutes left. So they would even
Yeah,
play more minutes. So the thing is, this is not a situation where you can be bullish about it. You say, yeah, we tried something, it didn't work because it didn't work. You clearly got your ass kicked on the board. So people can talk all they want, but Chet still only had 6 rebounds, but Hartenstein had 8 rebounds, 4 assists. He did a good job of passing the ball. And like I said, Chet got involved, but at the same time, Williams 5 of 14, still not a great night from him. But again, then you have these other guys stepping up, Wiggins and Caruso, six of
yeah,
11 each.
that's the difference in the game. I mean, if Wiggins gets 18 and Caruso gets 20, there's no way they lose.
Oh, exactly.
There's no way.
So, but the hardest part, everybody thinks that's easy to coach a team like this. I totally disagree. The years you have your deepest teams, you have to be on more mental alert every
Yeah,
game
we've talked about
because,
on this show the whole concept of over subbing. That could really sometimes be
yeah, but you have to keep searching until you
really
get the right
yeah.
combo.
Right.
And to have to search to get the right combo, it might not work. So while people think it's a great luxury, and it is, it still comes with its own pressure.
No,
But
it's
that game the other night was just, I don't know. I'm not bored to ever watch basketball, but that was a game with, I didn't feel anything the whole night.
yeah, it just seemed like the Thunder had control the whole game, right? They
Yeah,
did.
and you feel like Indiana has to show something. I know it's cute to say, yeah, it's 1-1 and they've only been leading for point three of the series. I think they had a 2 point lead, 3 point lead the other night for about a minute and a half. But you have to show something soon. If they lose again in the same fashion that they lost the other day, this will be a 5 game series.
My
They
prediction
have
was
to show something. They have to show something tomorrow night, and then they can win this series. But it's that fragile. I mean, you must step up and show something.
you think you had it almost Uncle Dave. It's reverse because in '84 the Celtics lost game one, but in game two the Celtics win that one with the Gerald Henderson
Yep.
deal right there. But it was kind of similar though. The Celtics really didn't lead at all at any point during the first two games, but yet it was
Yep.
1-1, and the Lakers felt like they should have been up 2-0. So it's like an
Yep.
invert of that, I think, here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think maybe Indiana on their home floor, maybe they get some juice there because it's like
Sure.
you said, it's kind of felt like it was in cruise control the whole night for this game.
Obi 1 for 8. TJ was good again. Mathurin was good, but other than that, and just I don't know. You got to play better. Nemhard 4 for 8. Halliburton got 12 points late, which was really meaningless. But the narrative, and I have to say this: there's such a wanting to like OKC, and there's almost like a very rarely do you hear announcers of neutral teams, not in big markets, get crushed. But I feel like the broadcast is openly voting for OKC and rooting for OKC. That's what it sounds like to me. I mean, I'm not OKC or a Pacer guy, but I just feel like every chance they get is just blowing OKC. I mean, Doris Burke, I mean, it's actually obscene.
Yeah, I think
The
the
broadcast
narrative.
is
I
brutal,
think the
and the halftime
narrative.
show sucks.
Yeah, the narrative I think kind of is, you have Gilgeous Alexander with the MVP if he wins this championship here. The league I think kind of wants to brand him as and he is a top player. They don't need to do that for him. He's just that good.
Sure.
I
Yeah, he
think
is.
it's a sexier for whatever reason. I don't know why, because the teams are kind of similar in that way. It's a kind of more, I guess, it's more marketable if the Thunder win this championship versus the Pacers. But I think Tyrese Halliburton right now, I think he's kind of a household name in the NBA. When you make four go ahead or tying shots in the playoff run, I mean that's pretty impressive right there.
Yeah, well, the other thing too is they want to have the agenda of saying that this is one of the best teams of all time at 68 and 14. This
Yeah,
is
we
something
talked
they
about
could
it on our
pump.
last show. Like you said, any team that it's won a championship or multiple ones, their center or their power forward would dominate against the Thunder. So it's not even a question. Any team that has any interior presence would mash this team.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the weakest baseline teams I've ever seen. I thought that I've seen some more offensively challenged teams. The Houston Rockets in '94 was the most challenged offensive team, followed by some of those back-to-back Piston teams could not score.
Yeah, they all yeah,
There,
it was kind of similar. They all play defense though. That was the thing with the
right.
Rockets and Pistons. They
But those teams had a
defensively.
baseline, so like Akeem against this group would have had a lot of
Oh
fun.
God. Yeah.
But it's just scary to watch because the game has changed so much. So you have to give them their due to win 68 games and be that engaged. The other thing I think it lacks, and the reason they're rooting so hard for OKC is I feel like Shea is not your typical superstar. He's very mellow, very,
He is.
very, very conscientious person. He's not about himself.
Yeah, he's very
So
reserved.
I think they're trying to pump this thing up, but you can't force this to be a dynasty. We have to take care of business here. It's 1-1.
Yeah, and like we talked about in the last show, too, whoever wins this championship, you have to go and climb the mountain up again next year. Everybody starts at the bottom, so it's not.
Especially today's NBA. It's 7 years in a row we've had a different champ.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
like it was in the 70s. The
Yeah.
70s was like this, and not until you got Magic, Mike, and Bird did you start to have teams winning multiple championships in
It's
several year periods, and then later on you had the Lakers do it again, you had the Spurs do it, and then the Heat did it twice, and then the Warriors.
This is a weird one though. I mean, you look at the stat sheet and the shooting percentages for these guys are relative. Like Miles Turner was 6 of 12, and Halliburton was 7 of 13, and Neesmith was 5 of 12. They shot the ball okay from that grouping of
Like
guys,
we
right?
said, cheap stats in basketball more than any
Yeah,
other
exactly,
sport.
exactly. Right, right. Yeah. I mean, and the turnover battle is relatively the same, 15 for the Pacers for 13 for the Thunder. But like you said, it just felt like kind of an odd game. It felt like this was just kind of mailed in right here almost a little bit. And,
Yeah,
they
the
got the
difference is the
split.
rebound stats. The only big stat of the night that's that different. I mean, the fact that the Thunder didn't shoot 39% also. So that's a big
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. And like I mean, the thing that jumps out is Wiggins and Caruso, the production they had. Jalen Williams played a little better. He shot the ball less, so he had a better night statistic wise shooting percentage than he did in game one. And the free throws, I mean, the Thunder, they got to the line 33 times. Made 29 of them. So obviously that right there, you're plus, what is that? Yeah, you're plus 10 on the
Plus 10.
foul line. So that's a huge difference right there. But even removing that though, like you said, it was just kind of an odd night. There wasn't, there was juice in the building, obviously, because the Thunder on their home floor, but it just felt like the Pacers never really were in this game.
Well, don't forget, the Thunder shoot 26 for 46 from the 2 point line. So
Yeah.
that's 13 for 23. That's an outrageous statistic. So that's, way above that. Just and they shoot, but then again, the Pacers shoot 23 for 42. So theirs is really good also, which shows you that maybe both these teams should take a little more twos, but they're not going to do that. So for game three, you got to really watch the whistle because I think the Thunder were allowed to be physical. You got to watch Halliburton getting off to a better start. You got to see if Chet's going to be consistent, and you got to watch that. You got to watch those bench minutes. Obi Toppin was 1 for 8. And when he's not shooting well, he doesn't do a lot else. And again, we'll see what they do with the lineup as far as the bigs go. But those are several things we got to watch for game three. Game three, I think, is really going to tell us the whole series. It's going to tell us whether we have a series or not.
Yes,
I think
because
if OKC comes out with another performance like they did the other night, this is going to be quick. If Indiana comes out and wins, we're going to have a real series. But I feel like if Indiana gets down 2-1, never having a lead for more than really 3 minutes and 3.3 seconds of the series, they're going to start to buy into that too. And I think they'll get whacked.
Right.
But Indiana, I still think can, and I think I think will win the series if they just make some adjustments. But at the same time, they haven't really gone to the zone a lot. Caruso hit him and Wiggins hit him, but is Wiggins going to hit him again? We don't know. We'll
Well,
see.
that's the thing is Wiggins going to be 5 of 8 from three and Caruso 4 of 8. I mean, right there,
Right,
you're 9 of 16 between those two guys right there. The odds are they're not going to be shooting that again for game three.
right. And
And
Lou Dort cooled off. We saw 1 for 3, he only took 3 shots, but
I
still.
think the major thing is how is the Thunder going to be on the Pacers floor and how are they going to respond? Like you said, I think game three will tell everything right there. If the
Yeah,
Pacers
don't
and
forget that
this
the Minnesota's got a decent crowd, but nothing like this Indiana crowd. This Indiana crowd is raucous.
right, right. Yeah, no, they're chomping at the bit. I'm gonna be curious to see. I think like you said, the whistle and everything. But you look at the foul trouble too. There wasn't anyone that was in danger of fouling out of this game.
Right.
So there's not that. Lou Dort had five, and
Yeah.
how about him? He only shot 3 shots, made one of them.
Yeah.
The other night,
So Lou cooled off, but at the same time, the others got going. You got Caruso got going and Wiggins got going.
yeah, it's hard.
We'll have to see if that continues. And the guy that you're still waiting on to see what he does is a guy like Wallace did is a good player too, but we don't know, what is he doing? He's been starting, but at the same time, like that's a weird start. So you put him out there to start and try to be cute and prove something. Again, he goes 2 for 4, doesn't do much.
Yeah,
But
I
at the
think
same time,
the Thunder. I
it's time
think
to
on that.
scrap it.
The Thunder, some teams it's definitive who's the starting five. The Thunder, I think you have their four, which is Williams, Holmgren, Gilgeous-Alexander, Dort, and that like fifth spot. You don't really know what to do with. Wallace, you could easily plug in for Caruso, or you could put in, or you could go double big with Hartenstein, or you could go Wiggins. I think they don't really have like a cemented fifth guy there. They are deep though. That's the one thing. I mean, you look at the minutes played here. I mean, you have three guys coming off the bench for the Thunder that play 20 plus minutes. I mean, that's insane. Minute production right there.
Well, the other thing too is though, if you don't play Hartenstein, you have nobody hanging around the basket respecting it. When Chet pops out, you don't have to have any. You're not going to have any inside help. Everybody's just going to push out. So, and that's good for driving, but it's bad for like any protection near the rim. So the bottom line is you have nobody to lob to and get those easy baskets. Hartenstein around the basket with that little jump hook.
Yeah, he's got
So,
he's excellent from that range right there.
and you're not
Not
going to
gonna
have
make it.
that with Chet. Chet's facing up outside. If you don't have Hartenstein in there, I mean, you got to find a. They got to. I'm waiting to see if the Pacers really start to focus on one or two guys and leave them open again. That's usually a strategy that can sometimes work without even doing it well. You can get in someone's head. Well, it's something that they're gonna have to try.
Well, on their home floor too, you think you might want to play that card right there. Like you said,
Yeah,
play some zone. They did go to it a little bit in game two, but I would
yeah, they
like to
did.
see them really, try to really go deep, head first in there and try to do it. Like you said, funnel the ball to Dort and see if he's got it going that night. Wallace too. So you got to challenge some of these guys. You can't let Alexander though. I mean, he's had 38 and 34 and he's got the
Yeah,
ball in his hands a lot and I know he's an incredible player, but like you said, you might want to just throw some double teams at the top of the key and you know how it goes. If you do that, it's 4-on-3, but those four guys that are on offense there, they better know what the hell they're doing, though. You know what I mean? So you can kind of speed
yeah.
them up mentally when you double team a guy too. You can get the other guys out of rhythm too. So I
Well,
think,
the other thing too is I felt like Shea didn't even force it the other night either. I thought he
no,
was very
he
patient.
just smoothly got his 34. Yeah, exactly. Didn't
Yeah,
even feel like it,
he
right?
was very patient. I thought he was much more patient this game. He took 30 shots in game one. He took 21 the other night. I thought he was very patient and showed again, 8 assists, 5 rebounds. He's trying to read the tea leaves and I give him credit for that. Halliburton's got to get a little bit more out. I know he wanted to read the tea leaves too, but they need a little jolt from him with this crowd tomorrow
I
night.
think you need to have him kind of have a bull in the China shop mentality here. I'm gonna, take it downhill. I'm gonna make a play, whether I'm scoring it or assisting it. You have to have that type of mentality. So it just seemed like you said everybody kind of blurred into the background on the Pacers. No one really was making anything happen that was in a big way. I think the thing is with the Thunder too. If Gilgeous-Alexander is going to get 35 plus, you can't let then Caruso get 20. You can't let Wiggins
True.
get 18. That's the thing. If you're going to have the superstar, if he's going to get his, you got to make sure everybody else does not go off. And that's the thing. You have two guys go off that don't typically, and Gilgeous-Alexander gets what he normally gets, then you have a problem.
It was just such a weird game because, like I said, when you look at these numbers, they're not terrible, but it was not a lot of non-factor stuff, and it just wasn't really a game ever. Like I said, Obi 1 for 8, 5 rebounds, 2 assists.
He's got to play better.
He's got to play better than that. I mean, he's got for a guy that jumps like he does at 6'8", I just don't understand how he's not a better rebounder. It's frustrating as hell.
Oh, he's athletic.
And
He's crazy athlete too. Yeah.
yeah, Nemhard 4 for 8, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. I think they could have Nemhard bring the ball up tomorrow night. Something we got to watch and see if they can get Halliburton off a couple of staggers. Now, the other thing is the Indiana doesn't like to set a ton of screens. They like to play free flow where they pass and cut. So we'll have to see. Maybe they got to draw up a couple of things for Halliburton just to get him off a little bit. Might have to give a couple of their special sets because even though you want to have flow, you gotta run some stuff directly for him. See if we can get him going tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think that you look at like in the first half, I mean the Thunder, they were up on the Pacers with 5 minutes left. They're up 46 47-29, so they just kind of jumped on them early and just had their way with them.
Yeah,
I think
yeah. I
that
feel like, but once they went double big near the end of that first quarter and they opened up a lead.
yeah, that was the difference. I think the Holmgren and Hartenstein duo there, I think that really did do well. Yeah, Chet Holmgren, like I said, he plays well. This team is a different team, and what do you know? He has 15, and they just rolled the other night. So
Yeah, and I still didn't think he played enough. But people forget he blocks shots as well. So he's a guy that can hurt you from so many places on the floor. If I'm a defender, I guess I'd hit a couple of threes. I'd rather see him taking that, but you put him in that short corner or that high post or that mid post, he's
yeah,
going to
he's a
kill you.
tough cover. He's a tough cover, right? Exactly, because he's just so long and athletic around the rim. He could slam it.
If he could get 20, 30 pounds on him, the sky'd be the limit, but maybe he's not capable of doing that.
Yeah, some guys are just framed as not conducive for
No,
that. He might be
he
one
might
of
be
them.
one of them, but if you get him going, he could be the difference in the series.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. And you look at all the things considered. I mean, if you're the Thunder, you're thinking, God, this should be 2-0 and this should be a wrap here for game three. I mean, the
Yep.
Pacers really, in that first game, they should not have won that game. I mean, the Thunder up
Nope.
15 by fourth in the fourth quarter. How many times have the Thunder blown a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter at home in the whole year? Probably never.
Probably
When
never.
when you win 68 games the whole year, I mean, they probably never had a lead dissipate like that ever. So I mean, if you're the Pacers, they have to just. I mean, they really felt like they stole that first game there. So I mean,
Yeah.
they totally have to have. I think, like you said, it has to feel like the Pacers win the game and they truly win it, not the Thunder kind of giving it away. I
Well,
think
they need to show that they can play too and like have a lead themselves during the series. I
right,
mean, they've
exactly. They've
been,
not had that at all. They've not had a lead of any sort of any at any
they
point
haven't done anything
in the
like
game.
that. So they have to step up.
Yeah, they definitely do. Like you said, I think Game Three is going to be a very much a tell-all game right there.
So yeah, so this game is tomorrow night. I want to see the Pacers actually show up. I'm definitely blacked out now. You have to edit that part. But I want to see the Pacers actually show up and do something. Let's see if they
Yeah, it was kind of
so they
peculiar
just need to be a
because
bystander.
the Pacers, I think, the whole playoff, they've relished being that, we go into enemy territory and we plant our flag there. It just felt like that did not they did not have that type of energy or mindset in these first two games. It felt like the Thunder just pretty much controlled both of them. Like
Well,
I
this
said,
might
though,
be the weakness of a guy like Halliburton. Halliburton might be that guy, but maybe he's like Kyrie, where it's not every night.
right. Well, that's the
You
one
know?
thing with him. It's a little too inconsistent for my liking. I mean, when he's on, he's as good as anyone, but
Oh
he
God, yeah, he's a killer.
he just has too many nights where it's just like very average, just very, very
Yeah,
plain. And
yeah.
game
Well,
two was certainly
he
one of them.
showed that again the other night.
Yes, yes, he did.
And
Yeah, I
we
mean that
talk
kind of.
about the NBA, cheap numbers. You can get cheap numbers in the
Yeah,
NBA.
it just felt like he was another guy out there. It didn't. There was nothing out there that was like, oh, jumping off the screen at you.
No, he just looked. Now, I'm sure part of that is OKC's defense, but even then, he just didn't look to attack and get downhill. Kind of like how OKC didn't attack in transition in game one. Sometimes players stop themselves, and this might have been one of those times.
The staggering thing is like we're gonna find out in game three is it that you had the rebound differential with the who was it that got the Thunder got killed so much on the boards. You gotta
Lost
have
by
that.
17 in the first game.
Yeah, exactly. So for game three, is this kind of going to be what how game two was, or it's going to be more like game one? I think that I don't see them getting out rebounded again by 17, but and the turnovers that the Pacers had too. Game one was kind of a weird game, but this kind of was too in a way, right? I mean, it just felt like this was not quite as odd as game one. Game one was really really crazy, especially with the late lead
Yeah,
change with the Pacers having that the first lead being with point three, but. Yeah, the Thunder just looked sharp and very decisive. Caruso and
it did.
those guys getting off. I mean, that was huge for them.
You did see the Pacers try to post up more. We got to see if they continue that. We did see him try it. It didn't really get to the opportunity because they allowed Oki to be really handsy in the post with double hands in the back and the leg up the both legs, which is
Yep.
usually an automatic foul,
Yeah,
but
they're
they
gonna
didn't
allow you to
call it.
put it. Yeah, they're gonna allow you to put a knee up the ass, and they're gonna allow you to press two
Yeah,
hands
and
on
if they're
the
gonna
side
let you put two hands as a foul during the regular season,
automatically, right? Automatically,
or even
automatic
an
foul.
arm bar is, it's is sometimes called a foul. So we're gonna have to see how it's called because Siakam, they don't have anybody to guard him in the post. And like even Naismith, they don't really have anybody for him in the post. I mean, you could put Dort on, but then you take Dort off the perimeter. I mean, they could hurt some guys in the post. Miles Turner, not traditionally a post guy, but if you could do it, we have to see. And that's what again, it's not really it's a team without a post player. So it's kind of ironic. It's like an NBA with no post players.
Well,
It's
that's
really
the
kind of
thing.
funny.
It's a team without a post player, and if you get one of them in trouble, then they're really thin. Then if Hartenstein or Holmgren get in foul trouble, then you're really
Yeah,
looking
Siakam likes to turn over the right
vulnerable.
shoulder, but even him doesn't love the post up. So again, you see in an NBA finals without really a lot of guys posting up. Like I said,
No,
Pacers did show flashes, but we'll see. We'll see how they do it.
I
I'm not
just
sure if they're going to succeed at it. If they're going to be allowed to be handsy, it's not going to work.
Shea. I think he did a good job. I think with probing the defense, passing to
Yeah,
he didn't on the scouting report. He's the guy you circle on, and I mean he's gotten 38 and 34 in
yeah.
both games. In this game,
Well,
he
he
has
killed
eight
him during the
assists.
season too, right?
Yeah, exactly. He dominated. He had 45 and 32, I think. So he's
I
just
think they said he had the third highest average of a guy going into the finals against an opponent. Supposedly Jordan averaged 40 against the Suns, and I
yeah,
think
they're
it
just some guys,
was
right? They just match up great with another team, and they
right.
just can't figure him out. I mean, then it also on top of that, Shea, he's got four steals. So I mean, he
Well,
just played
that's the
an
surprising
incredible game.
part because the Pacers have several guys to defend him, and it's still not working.
I mean, I would have a guy like Obi Toppin. You get some length on him. You put him out there. Then maybe a couple possessions, you put McConnell out there. You just have to change up the looks, I think, on him.
You
He's
know, I just think you got a double.
Yeah, exactly. Though that too, like I said, you just have to send a double team, even if he's I don't care where he is on the floor.
No,
Once
if
he
he's going
starts,
to keep driving the right elbow
yeah,
or driving the left elbow and put you driving the elbow in the left, he pulls up. If he drives to the right elbow, he's going all the way to the rim. You
well,
notice.
that's
The other
that's
thing
the
about him
thing.
is,
His pull up
and
game is so good.
if you're not gonna have a guy in there in a game for a lob, I'm gonna double him.
Well, that's the thing too. I mean, they've not thrown a ton of those, so I would kind of open that up and say, hey, see if you can throw seven or eight lobs to Hartenstein and Holmgren, and if you put them
Yeah,
down,
and if you're not
so
gonna
be
have
it.
him in the game, I'm definitely doubling.
Right. Oh, so especially if they're yeah. Well, I think one of them always has to be in the game, but even then, I kind of dare him to make a couple of those plays. Not
Well,
that
that's
he's
the thing. When they're in the game, I mean, Chet likes to hang out around the 3-point line. If you're not gonna have double bigs in that game, you're not gonna have a lob catcher. I'm gonna go double him.
yeah, Coach Carlisle. I think he's got to yeah. He's definitely he got to make some adjustment, like you said, because these first two games here. I mean, I know you won game one, but kind of I think have to change something up here because I think the first two games were just
Yep.
we're gonna obviously Coach Carlisle is a great coach, so I would like you said I think you hit the nail on the head. You have to throw some zone at these guys here, especially that would kind of also take the ball out of Shea's hands a little bit too.
Yeah,
With
because he against Denver in game 3, they showed some impatience. You gotta see if they do it again. Plus the other night in game 1, 3 of the last 4 possessions they doubled Shea. The last one they didn't. He got a good shot, but he missed it long. But the other 3 they made somebody else take it, which is what you want.
Obi Toppin, I think he's kind of a guy who you might say, "Oh, Obi Toppin." It's you're paying attention, especially on the Pacers to Turner and Halliburton. But I think he's a guy kind of like their Holmgren. I think when he plays well, they're just it's a different beast. When he's catching lobs or making some outside shots, I feel like they go to another level. And like you said, I think he's too athletic for 19 minutes on the floor to get 5 rebounds. This guy is a jumping bean. I think
Yeah,
they
he is. He's a freak of nature, and he doesn't really get it. Defensively, he misses assignments a lot. But even like even in that Knicks series, until Game 6, he was 1 for 11 from three. Then in Game 6, he shot well, and then Game 1, he shot well. The other night, he kind of fell back to the planet a little bit. He loves that corner three. But I'd like to see, he's not a good on the ball defender, which is kind of shameful.
Yeah, he's got all the intangibles and the tools, right,
Sure
physically.
does. He can do anything on that court. That guy,
There's no reason, yeah.
he's talented.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. So game three, we're gonna have the Pacers on their home floor, And, we'll see if that changes their fortune. But you know what? I do not see, for instance, in game three, Pascal Siakam going 3 of 11. I know he's going to play way better than that, I think, in game three. There's
Yep.
no way you keep him down like, to that extent.
We're gonna see that early whistle on his post ups because they got double hands in the back and they didn't call it.
And I will say this, I think Andrew Nemhard, I think he's too talented offensively to get only 8 shots. I mean, I look at that in the stat sheet, that kind of is bothersome to me.
Well, I
He's going
think
to get more than 8 attempts.
he's chasing SGA so much, and I think that hurts his
Well, that's the
offensive
thing.
production
Right, right. That's a good
and
point.
his offensive and his chance to explore offense. I mean, I know he should. I'd make him do it because he does get plenty of rest.
And shit, last
But
series he was chasing Brunson all over the place too, so
yeah, he's
figure that adds up.
Nesmith did a great job on Brunson, but Nemhard in Game 6 did a decent job too. So problem with them is as good as TJ McConnell is, you have those two Dobermans, and Shepard's pretty good at it, but he's a little light. He's not tough. And so McConnell can't do it. So and Halliburton, you don't want to do it. So when you take those two Dobermans off the court, you really lose a lot because McConnell can't do it. Shepard, like I said, gives you spotty stuff. He's still a little thin, but at the same time,
Are you
Obi's not
talking
ready to
about
do that.
guarding Gilgeous-Alexander?
Yeah, defensively, like you can rotate guys, but I really think they need to make sure, besides the beginnings of each half,
Well, I think that's
that
one
that
Dave, where
both
you
those
go
guys
to
aren't on the
if
floor.
if you have McConnell on him or if you have Shepard on him, whatever. I think that's when you have a double team. You either have McConnell on the ball and you have someone else come, or you blitz him. I think you have to.
Well,
That's what I
I
would do.
would make sure that Halliburton takes the double team because he is long, so he could go and get it. But those minutes the other night without one of those two guys guarding him are very painful. And so they went to the bench, and a lot of times now they're playing Halliburton and McConnell together. But that's a really bad mix defensively when those two guys are on the floor together. Not that McConnell can't stay in front of a regular player, he can, but Shea's a different player, and Shea goes over the top of him with that fadeaway, which is
I
why the
think the thing
fadeaway is a great shot.
with Gilgeous-Alexander too is people don't realize he's 6'6". He's not
Yeah,
he's not a guard that's a Derrick Rose type who's 6'2", 6'3". He's a
yeah,
long, wiry guy.
yep,
So
yep,
and
yep.
he's just as fast as anyone on the floor. That's why he's just a freak. This guy.
Yeah, him, De'Aaron Fox, and Monk are three of my favorite guards. It's a shame that Monk has been banged up a lot and Fox got hurt again this year, but those are three guards I always loved.
And Shea, I think, did a great job. He only took 4 3-pointers. He made one of them. That's what he needs to do. Don't take any more than that. What
Yeah, I
he
thought
put
he got
pressure?
everybody involved. I thought he did a great job
Yep,
of,
yep.
getting people the ball, not for an assist, but I thought like he was very patient the other night. He didn't force it.
Yeah, no, I mean, he takes his 21 shots. I mean, if he just plays like how he played, if I'm Coach Degenol, I say, look, you just do what you do in this next game. What you did tonight.
Well, even way
Play the
back
same way.
when you were a kid, Michael Jordan every game didn't come out the same way. Some games he came
Exactly.
out and would look to go, and other games he wanted to see what Kukoc was doing or Scotty was doing.
Right, exactly. Right. Yeah.
If Kukoc got going, he would just feed it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. No,
That's what great players do.
that's the game within the game that the great ones recognize.
Sure. But
That's
he would
yeah.
always Mike would come out a lot and be patient and try to read the tea leaves.
Right.
You know, and so
Like you said, you totally have a score first mindset, and you try to say, all right, let me try to get 30 in the
something that
first half.
Magic did every day of his career. A couple of times they asked Magic to score, he went and did it. If it was
Right.
going to be that easy, he could have done it all the time, but that was not how we played the game. So he would always look to get somebody else involved. So he dealt with that every game of his life. It's just hard. Sometimes as a guy that, sure, he averages 20 points a game for his career, but at the same time, he probably could have maybe got 22 or 23 a game, but that's not how he played.
It's going to be interesting to see. Like you said, I think if the Pacers win game three, then you have a 6-7 game series on your hands. But
Yep.
if the
Yep.
Thunder win this, you kind of get the feeling, right, where it's Lakers and 76ers in 0-1.
Yep.
Right, where
With the
it's like,
Nets
all
and
right,
the Sixers. Yep.
right, the better team drops the first game, but after that, it's just all business after
We've
that.
talked about this. We've seen this a lot. We've seen it with the Pistons and the Lakers. We've seen this with, we've seen this a lot of times. We've seen this with Portland and Chicago way back in the day. And, you see teams that sometimes that's 1-1 after two, but it didn't look good. And all of a
Portland and
sudden it
Detroit, Uncle Dave, right?
explodes.
Portland and Chicago in 90, 90,
And then,
92. Yes,
and then,
92.
and then Portland and Detroit.
Yeah,
Portland
exactly.
ties that series.
Portland steals the first game too. Yeah.
Yep. And so all of a sudden you're feeling good, but at the same time you get bounced. So Lakers against Michael Jordan in 91, Bulls,
Same
they win
thing.
the first game by Sam Perkins shot at the buzzer. And then the
No, we
Bulls
went
win
over.
the next four games.
We went over a bunch of examples last podcast where
Yeah,
teams were they won the first game, and after that they don't win the series. It happens
no,
quite a bunch. Like
exactly. So that's why game one is over exaggerated. It's like when the Jets play the Steelers this year with Rodgers in the building. It's going to be insane. So both quarterbacks are against their former team, so the fans will overreact in a different way than they've ever had before.
Right. It's a great point. Yeah. God, you see the Pacers, you have to have a guy, I think, in order to win, I think, against the Thunder, a guy like Thomas Bryant kind of has to do what he did
Yeah.
against the Knicks, right? He has to hit a couple threes.
Yep.
You need, Obi Toppin, I think, to play better. He needs to give you close to 10. I think the feeling I'm getting, Uncle Davis, the Pacers kind of have to play over their heads, I think, a little bit more than the Thunder do. I think the Thunder, if they just play like how they're capable of playing, it's a lot easier for them than the Pacers. I think the Pacers, you have to have guys, I think, give all-time great type of performances any given night to have them come out, I think, victorious against this team. That's the feeling I'm
Well,
getting, at least.
the feeling is if you can get 4 or 5 guys with 15, which they could do, that's the strength of the Pacers. But are they going to do that? Like I said, there's been many great teams who never had a guy average 22. Pacers would be one of those teams. There's been four. But at the same time, they were leading the playoffs in scoring pretty much for the most part. But the thing is, they're having great success, but now all of a sudden they've had a couple of guys get 15 or 16, and then a couple of guys get 10. That's not enough. And
Right.
even though they got this lead down to 6 at one point, this game just never felt like it was in jeopardy.
It's great. Yeah, it's totally did. It's great that you have that depth, like you said, but the problem with that also is then you need 7 or 8 guys to then play to their potential, and that's hard every night for that to happen.
And you got to guess right every night. It's hard to play and plug every night, man.
Right.
It's difficult to know what's coming because
And I will say this,
people are not reliable.
I will say this about the Thunder. There's just no soft spot defensively on them. Everyone
No,
is just a stud defensively. You know, that
and that's
that's
why
a
they
huge
tried to
thing.
post them up.
Right. That's a huge thing. So if you're the Pacers, you're thinking, all right, the way we have to score here is we have to be able to turn them over and get something in transition. Like you said, I think that if you're the Pacers, you try to maybe play that game, right? And you try to get the Thunder going up and down with you. Is
Absolutely. But also, you got to control the board to do that. And the other thing is, you have to find a way to post up, even
And you
if,
have
like
to
I
get
said, if you,
stops, right?
yeah,
Offensively, that's the thing. You have to get stops in the half court against this team. If Shea's getting,
even if there's guard mismatches, you must get some post touches somewhere.
yeah, there's just more vulnerability, I think, and soft spots on the Pacers and the Thunder. Just when it comes to this matchup here, it just seems like it's just more favorable to them. With Gilgeous-Alexander, the fact that you have a guy you can just give the ball to and he can get you a bucket at any time.
Yep.
The Pacers don't really have that. I know Halliburton can be that guy at times, but Gilgeous-Alexander, I mean, he's just a different type of animal. This guy,
Yep.
when you have a
He
guy
gets
who's
downhill.
yeah, exactly. When you have a guy who's just this much of a stud that can just get a bucket at any given time. I mean, my lord,
And
and
downhill doesn't go into
and
slumps. The
and the
problem is
scary the
Halliburton
scary
didn't do it.
and the scary thing is, Uncle Dave, Jalen Williams hasn't really gotten off either yet.
No.
He played, I think it was 6 of 19 in game one, and this game 5 of 14. I mean, he's capable of going 11 of 22 in a game. If that
Yep.
shit happens, then my God, then we really have an issue on our hands if you're the Indiana Pacers.
Sure. But they got to get Halliburton going downhill and attacking. He has a great floater. He also has that great floater from the baseline side, the flat baseline shot floater. But he
Yes.
really does get downhill going to his right, and he's not doing it enough right now.
Is if you're Rick Carlisle,
It's-
you have to tell him your energy has to be 100%, 100% of the time. And if we need to take you out for a blow, then so be it. But yeah,
yeah.
you have to be guns ablazing the whole game, every minute you're out there.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to see. I think tomorrow night's beginning of the game, the first 10 minutes is so important. I
So
think if it
telling.
starts out and the Thunder's got a lead again, I think we're in big trouble for a series if you're the Pacers.
Right.
I think if the Pacers come out tomorrow night and they take a lead and and they're holding that 5 to 10 point lead in that first quarter, I think that's a good sign for the series. But right now, the Thunder's been up the whole freaking
Right,
series
right. If
and
you have a
not by a little
no,
either.
no, if you have a situation where the Thunder jump up on them 21-10 or something like that, then you're like, shit.
Yeah, we're in trouble. We're in trouble.
This could be over quickly, right?
Yeah, and something with the Thunder, the funny part is I know they had great runs this year, but I don't feel like they're a run team. I feel like they're a team that, yeah, they're going to take you out 10 to 6 3 different times over a 15-minute
Yeah,
period.
that's how they win. That's what I talked about. Death by a
Yeah,
thousand paper cuts.
yeah.
That's
Now all of a
how they
sudden
win.
you're feeling good and it's 30-18. All right, now you're fucking down
Yeah,
12. Congratulations.
they're able to just score enough in their half court sets because you
Yep.
have Gilgeous Alexander, who's just such a stud and he can create and he's a willing passer.
Yeah.
So you have that. And then, I mean, the turnovers that they get in the fast break points in transition. I mean, you add that up, then that's why they won 68 games this year. Between those two things, that makes them extremely tough. And then you have a guy like Caruso who comes off the bench who can guard anybody. So
Very
you,
tough, and to plus to letting them be handsy.
yeah, exactly. So you can't like, and what I just mentioned just before, there's just no weakness on this team defensively. There's not a guy you can kind of go after and kind of pick on. Shed Holmgren, yeah, like you said, he can hula hoop through a Cheerio, but this is a 7 foot guy who can block shots, so you're not exactly headhunting him out.
No, and he hit a couple of threes. But the thing tomorrow night, I want to see if Nemhard brings the ball up and they get Halliburton on the move coming downhill. Set him a couple of screens, get him a couple of curls. I know they don't really do that. They like to play flow and
Yeah, it's
passing
an
cut.
interesting thought. Like you said, you maybe throw a wrinkle at the Thunder, though. If they this is a team, if they know what they're getting, they could maybe chew you up pretty good. So maybe you
Yeah,
try.
Nemhard is even talked about, and the announcers in the series have talked about how Nemhard is comfortable playing point. He's done it a lot in his life.
Well, they talked about that's kind of what he was before he came to this team. So that's what he's always been.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see if they can get Halliburton going downhill tomorrow night.
Yeah, maybe you
That's a
throw.
very important.
Yeah, you should throw a different wrinkle at them and see how that works for a bit. You don't have to do it the whole game, but try it for a couple
No,
possessions.
but you
See
got to
how it
get
goes.
guys loose. If you can
I
get a
mean,
guy
the
loose,
thing is, Uncle Dave Halliburton, he goes the whole game, no free throws, 34 minutes.
well,
You have to get some foul shots for him.
when we had Emeka Smith at Stony Brook, he would average like 25 to 27 a game. So he was like top five in the country in scoring. So what would happen is anytime someone would come in to the gym or we'd go there, somebody relished the challenge to shut him down. And so if they were ever really physical with him early in the game, we would just call four down. We put four guys on the baseline and Emeka would just shake him. So the bottom line is if Emeka could do that to him, it would work because he would get him off and he'd put the seed of doubt in his head. That's how it worked.
Yeah, I
So I
think,
mean,
like you said, it's a
if you
mind
could
game.
get this guy off, yeah, you play a mind game. You say, all right, now we got him going, because everybody would be like all pumped up to guard Emeka. But you know what? All right, four down. Now let's see how you do. And then if you got a bucket, you would just get going. So you want to get Halliburton going. So four down tomorrow. See what you can get out of him. Not four down, but get him going downhill off a screen or a curl, uh, and just see what happens.
Yeah, if you're the Pacers, you figure that Halliburton and Siakam are going to play better than they played in this last game for sure, and they need to
You
win.
got to get him going early. Got to get him
And
going early.
and the fact that going into this game that those two guys again, the odds and percentages are that they're going to play a lot better. And Obi Toppin's going to be better if 1 for 8, and you're at home. You figure, all right, you add all those things up, you feel pretty good about your chances at home.
Yeah,
But you know what? The Thunder, Uncle Dave, they're gonna have something to say for that. They're like, "Hey, we're a pretty damn good team too, and we're gonna come after you. We're
absolutely.
gonna try to put the knife in your neck here." And even if the
Yeah.
Thunder win, it's not over, but it kind of, like you said, has that feeling.
Plus, we've talked about this about OKC got punched in the face. They've been down in a series before. I don't think Indiana's been down the whole year in the series.
No, no,
So let's see if they get punched in the face.
yeah.
So we'll got to see. They got punched in the face a little bit the other night.
As the phrase goes, this is nut cutting time, ain't it?
Oh God, yes, white knuckler, nut cutting time. But I want to see that first quarter tomorrow night. And I want to
No,
see,
it's gonna tell everything, right? Yep.
and I want to see the Pacers be ahead at the end of the quarter. And if they're not, I think we're in trouble for a short series.
Yeah, we'll see. Either way, we'll be covering it on Nephew and Uncle Basketball Banter. Anything else you want, Uncle Dave, to mention here before we sign off?
Just some free agent rumors that are out there. A lot of talk of KD in different places and things of that nature. So
Yeah,
that's
I saw there was a Spurs. There was a rumor that there's this. I don't know if it's accurate or there's any
I
validity.
read that.
A Durant Spurs jersey and a photo of it.
What would
If
the
that happens,
Spurs
that'd
give
be
up?
something. Yeah, that's
What
the
would the
right.
Spurs give up? I mean,
Yeah,
because
people
I
are
don't want to
saying
give
it's
up
hidden.
Castle.
People are saying it's hidden until draft day. What, like you said, it makes you wonder what the hell would they have to give in exchange for him?
Well, there's also a lot of room that the Sixers are trying to trade up for Cooper Flag, and it's only a couple of picks. It's only like a two or three picks up, but I could see the Sixers doing that because if I was the Sixers, I would do that. But I don't know if Dallas is buying. We should do a live draft show.
Yeah, yeah, that would be. We could do that for sure. What night is the draft? Actually, that's got to be coming
It's
up,
usually a Thursday.
right?
Is it the 26th?
The 25th.
25th. It's a
Yeah,
Wednesday.
the
Yeah,
25th.
it's 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Yes, at
I could
Barclays.
get into that.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's go. Let's go with that.
I've been doing a lot of homework on the draft, and I'm really excited for Flag and see where he goes. And I want to keep track of all those guys who are
And
eligible, who
hopefully,
left who left college and who will not get picked that night. But so the draft is always like a week after. But I'm really looking forward to that. And then of course you get the summer league and then you roll, and then we have our special shows where I don't know.
Yes.
I have some coaches that I wouldn't mind coming on and showing us what they do best on a board or something,
Oh yeah, we can
or
get
the wet
off
or
season.
the where the hell is he now, guys, and worst drafts in NBA history and all these other good
Oh yeah, we're
ideas.
gonna
It's
have
gonna be
some fun
fun.
with that stuff. Yeah, no question.
Yeah, so that's gonna be one show a week and do a lot of homework in between for each category. It's gonna be
Oh
fun.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I think that and reviewing old NCAA tournament games and NBA
Oh yeah.
playoff games, I think, like you said, the playlists now on YouTube are ridiculous. You can get pretty much everything now.
Oh, I'm telling you, I'm watching so many games. It's just ridiculous. The other night I watched Seton Hall, Michigan, 1989 final. If there was a guy
That's great.
if there was a guy hotter than Glenn Rice during the national championship run in '89, I want to meet him. He was unbelievable.
It's great though, the vibe, and you can put one of those games on, you get some good dinner, and it's like, oh, this is heaven right here.
It is, and the broadcast is so much better.
Oh, they are. Yeah, they were
And
back then.
You hear the Brett Musburger vibe. You are looking live. Brett
Oh, it's great.
Musburger was the first guy to have a pregame show. He did it on NFL Today at 12:30. It's him, Irv Cross, and Jane Kennedy, and Jimmy the Greek, and Phyllis George. And that was the first pregame show I ever saw. And I used to get so excited to watch it as a kid. And then, but Brett Musburger, even though we made fun of him back then, he always would get excited. Like if you go back and look at game one, the introduction to the NBA Finals between the Lakers and the Celtics, you get chills.
Oh
It's
yeah,
unbelievable.
absolutely. Yeah, no, it's great. Great stuff. Yeah, no, he was definitely a great announcer for sure.
And then I was on this thing, talk about the
Great,
best
the
big
great Dick
three.
Stockton on the call too.
Oh, the Jake Stockton was the man. But people are like, oh, who's the best big three? I'm like, Worthy, Magic, and Kareem. I'm like, I didn't want to talk about these other big three. And the second best big three, Bird, Parrish, and McHale. I'm telling you about Bosh, LeBron, and Wade. Get the fuck out of here.
No,
Fuck out of here.
yeah, they're definitely.
Kobe and Shaq didn't have a third guy.
That's the thing. Yeah, they didn't have a third. What are you
And
gonna What are you gonna say? Ron Harper? I mean, he wasn't even there for all three of them, right?
exactly. I mean, you could say Derek Fisher, I
Derek
guess.
Fisher, Jesus Christ. No disrespect to D Fish because I
No,
thought
I love D Fish. I love him.
he made
Even
some
though
game
that shot
shots.
didn't get off in a second.
I will say, oh my God, I will say this. He was a reliable guy, you know. He was just a reliable, steady hand for those teams.
It's funny because he overachieved in the NBA, what he didn't do in college.
Yes. Little Rock, I think, right?
Yeah, but he was a guy that just fit. And that's what you're seeing a lot now. You're seeing a lot of these guys that
Great spot
can
up shooter
guard.
too. That's why he was great with the triangle. Great spot up shooter.
Yeah, and the other thing is we're going to see a lot of guys who came out early this year. Now, today it's not that bad to not get drafted because there's only two rounds and you can get to go see what camp you want to go to. And plus you got the D League now, which is amazing. I'm looking at this kid McNeely from Connecticut. I'm still thinking, I don't know, well, what the hell did he come out for? I
Yeah,
don't
we're
know
gonna
what's going to
see.
happen
It's
with
gonna
him.
we'll do a live show and it'll be interesting to see. The fit is everything, like you said. Where guys go, what's the general manager situation and the coach situation like? You know, how do they see you and envision you using you? That's a big thing.
Style of play is everything.
Yep. So a little bit of luck, obviously is the case. You know, a guy like Danny Green, if he doesn't go to the Spurs, you know, is he an NBA player and has the career he had? I don't know. You know, it's
Well,
it's
the
it's
funny thing is his weakest skill in college was shooting.
right. And then he became a spot up shooter. How funny is that?
That's because he was a good disciplined person. That's the difference.
Yep, no question. All right, Uncle Dave, we'll leave it there. All right. All you basketball fans out there, live long and prosper. May the force be with you.